16 days and new content. What does this mean for the 10th anniversary? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we have a little bit of update information on things to come for the 10th anniversary. We are about 16 days away from the start of the anniversary, which means we are approximately 6 days away from what should be the start of the countdown celebration. And with that, we have a few things coming to us. So in this video, we're going to talk about those upcoming events, such as a new Ultimate Red Zone, along with what I think this means for the possible theme of the anniversary. So let's go ahead and let's just take a look here at the stuff that is confirmed to be coming. So very soon we will be getting the 83rd Ultimate Dokkan Clash, which is the 10th anniversary special edition. Now this is a little bit early for the announcement, so what that tells me is, like with the worldwide download celebration last year, there's actually going to be split into two parts, just as it says here, where part one is going to be held starting from the countdown celebration, and this does line up with in-game. If you guys check your in-game tab, you will see that it does list Ultimate Clash as ending in just 6 days, which it would be when the countdown celebration starts. From there, we also have a new Ultimate Red Zone that is going to be soon available. Now, this also is a tad bit early for an announcement for a new event, specifically a red zone type event. So I'm going to talk about what that means here in a second. And then, of course, we got the next stages for the tile breaking and extreme super battle road, which corresponds to corroded body and mind. So we knew that the new tile breaking stages were coming, right? If we take a look at the current Happy New Year celebration, right, we know that the third tile breaking stage is coming on the 14th, and I actually think that that date is rather important because it lines up with a few other things, right? If we take a look at last year's countdown campaign for the, or not countdown campaign, but last year's New Year's campaign before the countdown campaign, we can see that last year they added the new movie bosses to Red Zone, where part 1 and 2 were added on the starting from the 27th, which was the beginning of the celebration, and then the second part was added at the 10th. And then finally, the last part of the celebration at the start of the 9th anniversary, on the 28th, we did get the last stage, which was the Golden Frieza stage. So that would kind of line up with what's happening here with this red zone, right? I'm going to safely assume that this red zone will either drop along with the tile breaking stage, and seeing as there is already what seems to be a ton of stages, it's probably going to drop in 3 parts. We'll get part 1 right before the start of the countdown campaign, much like the previous movie bosses red zone. We'll get the next set of stages during the countdown campaign, and we'll get the final set of stages during the anniversary, along with whatever new event comes with the anniversary, just like how it played out last year. So really interesting stuff here as far as updates. We also do have an update on the battle hour. It does seem to be proceeding forward as planned. We'll see if that changes anytime soon, but for now it does seem like it is still planning on going on, which would coincide with the start of the countdown campaign. So around the time that the countdown campaign starts, we should also have some pretty solid information as to what to expect from the anniversary. Like, we should at least know the theme, if not at least the arts of the units by then. So now, speaking on the theme, I actually think that this little tidbit here gives us a really good indicator of what might be the 10th anniversary theme, because this is specifically titled Ultimate Red Zone GOKU'S Story Edition. Now, we could have other variations of this, but I think specifically given the art for the free-to-play login card, I think that this is very important, right? The free-to-play login card, previously looking at it, right, we would think that he's doing the Kamehameha, and he is, and that was sort of what screamed as the theme. But the more I began to think about it, What if the theme is actually the legacy of Goku? It is the milestone, the 10th anniversary. It is a huge, I mean, it makes Dokkan essentially a legacy at this point, and what better way to honor it with everything Dragon Ball and the legacy of its main character. I actually think that this could be a solid idea, and Kamehameha still kind of fits within that, right? So it could be one and the same, right? Kamehameha is just sort of corollary, or Goku's legacy is just sort of corollary to that, especially when you consider, right, like if the theme is what I'm thinking here with some sort of Goku's legacy, right, there could still be those big Dragon Ball moments included, including like a Super Saiyan Goku or the father-son Kamehameha, that would still fit both themes, actually, Kamehameha and Legacy of Goku. So it's just a thought to ponder on, but what really sells it for me as a possibility is this specific Ultimate Red Zone Goku Story Edition. I feel like once we get an idea of what the new event that shows up in the Countdown celebration, if there is one, I think it'll lead closer. If not by this weekend, on the 18th, we should know for sure. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see what they make of it. Now, I did want to spend a little time to talk about the event itself. This could be a really interesting event. I hope it's not as easy as the previous movie, Boss's Red Zone. It's really sad. Like, I had hoped, I mean, Beerus and Frieza are a tad bit challenging, but I had hoped for a bit more challenge, right? Because outside of Kid Buu, we didn't get too much in terms of extreme type challenges last year. So it'll be nice if we get a little, if this can kind of make up for that, where we get some good extreme units to fight, along with a new Supreme Magnificent battle. Like, they balance it out. But the stages, I think, are kind of interesting, right? So the first stage is obviously probably going to be Goku and Vegeta. It does say Goku's story, so it could be, it could be starting from just the Saiyan Saga in general, so it could be starting from Raditz, but I actually think the fight's probably going to go something more like, Vegeta and Nappa with a stage 2 into Vegeta. And then the final stage being Giant Ape Vegeta. I feel like that could be a good way. We haven't had a good giant fight in a while, not since I think GT Baby, I think, was the last one, right? Unless you count Hirudegarn. But so this would be kind of interesting. In terms of mechanics, I feel like it could be interesting, right? Like, if you don't defeat, or like if you deal too much damage to Nappa and don't kill him, he'll exchange into Vegeta, or something like that. Or, I mean, just having a giant ape, with a crap ton of HP and hitting really hard could be interesting. He might just be one of those type of bosses where you have to attack lower. It's not going to be incredibly difficult, since it's probably going to be the first stage, but I could definitely see them doing something like that, just basically giving them a massive attack that you have to lower if you want to survive, or something like this. It could be interesting, or it could just be one stage. It could just be a straight up Vegeta, right? That just has like a guard or something, and you have to break through it, right? So crits would be important there. Who knows? But it'll definitely be one of the easier stages. The second stage is obviously going to be Goku versus Frieza, and this one should be. I mean, there's a lot they could do here. Typically with Frieza events, they tend to give us multiple forms, so I could see this one starting. Well, since it's Goku's story, I doubt it's going to start at first form, because Goku never fights first form. So it's probably going to start at final form, as indicated by the banner there. So he'll probably start as final form, and I doubt he's going to go all the way to Golden Frieza, since we do kind of have a Golden Frieza fight. And I mean, maybe they'll add one later, but it's probably just going to be final form and then full power Frieza, which I think they might go, because I don't think we actually have this as a like red zone type boss. Do we? Oh, I mean, yeah, I guess we do, huh? No, we don't. It's not a red zone boss. It's the legendary Frieza event boss, right? Because the golden Frieza on the red zone just goes final form. So actually, yeah, he could absolutely do final form, and I feel like this one is going to be another one, right? This might just be a one stage fight with a character. Well, actually, no, it won't be, because it shows final form there, right? So this could be final form Frieza into full power Frieza, 2 stages, and this guy, right, has guaranteed crits against when facing a Goku enemy, right? So this could be like that Broly event where he's stronger if you're facing if you're facing Goku, right? So he'll have critical hits, or they might just give him critical hits if you're using super class, right? Just as a boss type. That could be interesting, right? It doesn't have to be exactly, but they do tend to keep the spirit of the card that the boss is based on. So I feel like he's gonna have crits in some way, or right, maybe something where he gets more stronger like the Broly if you're using a Goku type enemy. The next one is this is interesting because they use the Cell Games Cell for the right, it's not perfect, it's not super perfect Cell, right? It's the Cell Game Cell, and it's probably not going to be super perfect Cell. Well, it might. But I don't think it's not going to be super perfect Cell. In fact, I think they're probably going to stop it here. It's going to be the Cell and Cell Juniors, because that's pretty much where Goku stops fighting against Cell, right? So it'll be just perfect form, where Goku fights him and does the instant transmission Kamehameha, and then, of course, the Cell and Cell Juniors. And it might be a multiple event fight, like the multiple unit fight, but what I could see them doing with this boss, because, again, like I said, they do tend to keep the spirit of the boss, I could see this guy have healing and an AoE super, which, you know, that'll be fun. But I could definitely see him having that, right? Having the AoE super. Because we already have a boss that's sort of modeled after Int Perfect Cell and the AGL Cell. So I feel like this one might take after this Cell boss might take after the Fizz Cell, especially since they are using his SS. Actually, that's his TUR art, I think. Yeah, that is his TUR art. Obviously, the next boss from there is going to be Kid Buu. This one's going to be interesting because there really aren't too many options for them to use, right? This could be a multi-phase Majin fight, or it could just be a straight-up Kid Buu. We've already got a Kid Buu fight that's modeled after this Kid Buu. I mean, there isn't much they could do for modeling him, except, right, maybe the boss gets more, right, this Buu fight gets more offensive as you fight. Maybe this one gets more, like the Fizz one, gets more defensive as you fight. But, I mean, they are using the STR, so it could just be another copy pasta of the STR Kid Buu fight, but stronger, right? Like, maybe that burst mode was preparing us for this fight here, because this is going to be one of the later fights, which means it's going to be pretty, I mean, in terms of overall difficulty for the fight, this is going to be sort of a medium range one, right? And then moving into the next fights, from what we can see here, unless they add more, right, the next one's going to be Hit. And what I'd like to see them do, right, is model this after the tech hit. I mean, they could model it after the AGL one. After all, that is the AGL hits art. But I'd like to see them have a little something like this, where like he has a chance of just stunning your whole rotation when you come into the fight. We've already seen them have bosses that do that, like in the Peppy Gal's Red Zone. So, I mean, it's not out of the question for them to do something like that. So this could be interesting, right? Maybe it's a 30%, he keeps like a 30% chance to stun the enemy. That could be interesting. That can make for some really interesting things you have to plan around. It'll make characters who have that ability to negate debuffs really helpful. But we'll have to see. And then, of course, finally, the last one is the full power Jiren. And they specifically use this Jiren and not the tech Jiren, which makes me think this is going to be a type of character who, one, is going to have guaranteed critical hits, possibly a damage barrier, along with they could really mess with us and make it so he gets stronger with each, just like the AGL one, he gets stronger with each super attack he receives, right? Because what does he get? He gets it's 50% with each super attack received. So just imagine, right? He gets 50% stronger each time you do a super. This could make planning around that interesting, right? It might honestly be a situation where you're better off doing normals than actually supering, right? Who knows, right? They could do some really interesting stuff with this, but I really like the idea of this Red Zone because, like, it's not set to a theme, which gives you all kinds of different bosses to play around. I know it's a bit much to ask, but I do hope that, you know, all of the fights here can be on a different, you know, kind of on a relatively same-ish level, and that it is on the level, at least, of 9th anniversary content, right? Not like the previous movie bosses Red Zone, but all in all, this seems to be fun. Like I said, we're going to be getting the first couple of stages, if not by the 14th for this one, next to the tile breaking challenge, then we will definitely get it at the start of the countdown celebration, which should be on the 18th, if I'm not mistaken, and that does line up with, or actually the 16th rather. Oh, that's actually a little early, because the Ultimate Clash does leave on the 16th. So 16th to 18th should be when we start the countdown celebration. We'll have to see exactly, but it looks to be a fun start. So guys, that is it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let us know what you think of the possibilities of this new movie, GOKU'S story, Red Zone. Let us know as well what you think of our idea for the meaning of this in relation to the 10th anniversary theme. I might be onto something, I might not be, but let us know what you think in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.